Okay. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsya Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitramane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pasyasya Starine Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Selakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. Before I start, I would like to seek blessings of senior Vaishnavas. Her Grace Mother Kamagiri Prabhu, who is a senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And also, I would like to seek blessings from my dear God sister Rukmini Devi. She is a wonderful devotee of the Lord. And also, I would like to seek blessings of senior devotees Naveen Krishna Prabhu and Rajapakti Prabhu. They are inspiring me since 20 years. And also, I would like to seek blessings from Lalita Mataji, who is inspiring me in deity worship, and so many other wonderful devotees. Also from Premasindhu Prabhu, who is my dear God brother, senior God brother, who is inspiring me through his wonderful classes and through his wonderful Gandharva voice. I am always inspired to hear from him. Thank you very much. Thank you, Shadbhuj Chetan Prabhu and Ramatirtha Prabhu, for inspiring me to say a few words. So I would like to get started now. Thank you. So the topic I have chosen for today is called Vaikuntha Priya Darshanam. So this one is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 2nd chapter, 29th verse. So to give some context to this verse was spoken by Nimi Maharaj when the 9 Yogendras visited his sacrifice, actually. So let's start with this verse here. Durlabho manusho deho dehinam kshanabhangura tatrapi durlabham manye Vaikuntha Pridarshanam. Word to word translation. Durlabha, difficult to achieve. Manusha, human. Deha, body. Dehinam, for embodied beings. Kshanabhangura, can be lost at any moment. Tatra, in that human body. Api, even. Durlabham, more difficult to achieve. Manye, I consider. Vaikuntha Priya, of those who are dear to the Supreme Lord Vaikuntha. Darshanam, the vision. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. For the conditioned souls, the human body is most difficult to achieve, and it can be lost at any moment. But I think that even those who have achieved human life rarely gain the association of pure devotees who are dear to the Lord of Vaikuntha. So, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So before we start going deep into this verse, first I would like to give some background on these 9 Yogendras. So these 9 Yogendras are sons of Rishabhadev, who was an incarnation of the Lord. And he had 100 sons. And the eldest son was Bharata Maharaj. We heard his pastime when he ruled this ethereal kingdom and how he went to forest to meditate and he became a deer and later transmigrated as trying to remember the name, Jada, and then finally achieved his destination. So these 9 Yogendras are his brothers who decided to kind of give up their lives in practice of spirituality and who attained highest perfection. And King Nimi was one day performing an yajna, and these Navayogendras, out of their free will, just visited King Nimi's yajna. So King Nimi was an exalted personality. So he immediately, along with his associates, got up, invited them, worshipped them appropriately as per Vaishnava etiquette. And then he kind of gave this particular words as an offering to them. Durlabho manusho deho dehinam kshana bangura tatrapi durlabham manye Vaikuntha Priya. So one interesting thing, what I noticed when I was studying this verse was this Darshanam word was translated as the vision in the word to word. However, when it was translated into the entire English sentences, it was translated as the association of pure devotees. So Darshanam could mean both ways in this sense. One can have a physical darshan as well as the association of pure devotees. So in this verse, there are several questions that were raised actually, and we will try to see if we can answer those ones through some analysis and discussion. The first question that pops out of this one is, what is the purpose of human life and why is it rarely achieved? Because here, Nimi Maharaj says that the human body is very difficult to achieve. That's one question. And why is it rare? And the next question he raises is, it can be lost at any moment. So that means it is very temporary. So human body is temporary and can be lost at any moment. That's one question. And who are these Vaikuntha Priyas? What do they do? What are their kind of qualities? A little bit. And what is the perfect consciousness of Maharaj Nimi at this time, particular time, when he's offering this sloka? And lastly, we'll try to address this question, why is it rare to get association of Vaikuntha Priyas? So if you see this sloka at the end, Nimi Maharaj says, there is a chance that I may get a human body, even after trying hard. But rarer than human body is to achieve the association of pure devotees. So we'll see how and why it is rare to achieve this association of these Vaikuntha Priyas. Okay, so we will not directly address these questions, but we'll progress through these discussions, which will help answer these questions actually. So the first concept to discuss is transmigration. So this transmigration of the conscious living entity is a very interesting topic. The main thing here to understand is that there is a conscious living being, which is the soul, and there is this temporary body or bodies. And in the Vedic scriptures, it has been described there are 8,400,000 species of life. Or in the sense like there are 8,400,000 different varieties of bodies that this conscious living entity or the soul transmigrates before it finally gets an opportunity for a human life. So there are different ways to understand this one. So if you look at this picture that is presented here, there are living entities or bodies that live under the water. There are living entities, bodies that live on the earth, and also on the other higher planets. So the human body or the soul, the conscious soul, transmigrates from various bodies going through under the earth, actually, which is water, species, life, as well as on the earth, and finally gets this human body. To understand better this one example was given. One is like to consider these bodies as apartments. So as we have understood in our material life here, there are different kinds of apartments. There are first class apartments, second class apartments, and third class apartments. So these bodies are also like that. So the soul, depending on its karma, goes from one body to another body, one body to another body, and finally achieves human life. And based on the activities that he performs in this human life, again, there is a possibility that he may get another human life body, or he may again degrade back to into this lower species where he has to again go through this 8,400,000 bodies and finally come to human life. Also, there is another aspect. So this human form of life, or even the 8,400,000 species of life, is only limited and can only traverse within this universe. So you can consider this as three different kind of living areas that we live in: lower, middle, and high class areas. And similarly, this universe is divided into three different planetary systems: lower, middle, and higher planetary systems. So this living entity, depending on his activities, what kind of activities he performs, he may go down, or he may go up, or he may stay in the middle layer, middle kind of planetary system. There is a nice verse given in Bhagavad Gita, which says like Brahma Bhumana Loka Punaravarto Arjuna Mabu Upechatu Kaunte Punarjanma Navichyate. So Lord Krishna there says that Brahma Bhumana Loka Punaravarto Arjuna. That means like starting from Lord Brahma down to the lower planets, all the living species, they have to come back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and they have to reside basically within this universe planet only. But one who approaches the Supreme Lord or his devotees, then they have ability to get out of this universe and go to the spiritual abodes, which are Vaikuntha or Goloka abodes. So that's how this conscious soul transmigrates different bodies as well as different lower, middle, and upper class spiritual planets. So in the transcendental world, there is no death, there is no misery, and the soul is very happy and peaceful in the transcendental world. Whereas in the material world, it undergoes various miseries. It has been said that dukkhalayam sashvatam. It's completely full of miseries, actually. So to understand this better, we can discuss one story from Srimad Bhagavatam, which is about Chitraketu Maharaj. Chitraketu Maharaj is ruling the earth at one time, and he had many wives. However, after trying so much, he could not have a son or a daughter to take care of the kingdom. But after so much endeavor and persistence, finally one of his co-wives delivered one son, and he was very happy. So at that time, Lord Narad Muni visited him, and he said like, you need to engage your time in spiritual activities as well. It seems like you are no, let me get back, state that in a different way. He visited him, but Lord Narada Muni saw that he was happy in his material activities, so he didn't say anything and he went back. So after a few years, the son was growing. However, there was some envy between his co-wives. because the king is only visiting that wife that has a son. He's neglected all other wives. So they plotted a evil act, and they one day killed the son. And after hearing this news, Chitraketu Maharaj literally got shocked, and he was very morose, and he started literally day and night crying, thinking about his son. At that time, again, Narada Muni visited him along with one other sage, and he kind of preached him and said, there's no need for you to engage in this emotions at this time. Then he gave power. With his power, he brought back the dead son to life. And then when the dead son was back to life, the dead son looked at his father, Chitraketu, and then he questioned him in surprise. He said, who are you? Why are you crying? I have so many bodies that I have accepted, and I have so many mothers and fathers. I do not know even who you are. So this kind of, again, gave a lot of shock to Chitraketu Maharaj. He was fully under the influence of material energy, but now he got awakened, and then he started taking spiritual activities very seriously. So in this example, we have given the son of Chitraketu Maharaj, who was brought up from his dead state to the lively state. He questioned. He said, like, I was migrating through all the species of life. When I was kind of under the water in the bodies of that species of life, I have a mother and father. When I was on land, I have a mother and father through different animals. And when I was a human being, I have a mother and father. So I am going through this transmigration life after life after life. And I have so many mothers and fathers. So this is just to understand the transmigration of the soul. Also, there are a couple of quotations from Bhagavad Gita. In 2:16, it was said that a highly evolved human brain is a gift given by God, so that we may use our intelligence to distinguish between that which is eternal and that which is temporary. Basically, this verse is saying that the human brain or human body was bestowed a gift by God. And what is that gift that was not given to all other species of life? Was the intelligence to distinguish between eternal and temporary. Eternal means to understand who I am as a spirit soul, and then temporary means to understand who I am as a body, and then what is the nature of this body. Also, there is another verse from scriptures. It says like ahara nidra bhayamaiturancha samanyametam pashu nararam dharmo hi tesha adhiko visesho dharmo nahina pashubi samana. It says like among animals and humans, there are 4 things that are common. Ahara, nidra, bhaya, and maiturancha. That means eating, mating, sleeping, and defending. So the only thing that makes human being special is he can inquire into his dharma, his nature. Who am I? What is the difference between my soul and my body? Why am I undergoing through these miseries? If it does not exercise that one, then it is almost like basically at an equal level as animals. So this quotation says, sense gratification is available even in the most abominable species of life. Any questions so far? Okay, let's move on to the next one. I think it's not moving. Give me 1 second. Okay. So next we are going to discuss topic called Vaikuntha, or Krishna consciousness is the highest perfection. So there is another verse in Srimad Bhagavatam 11:20-17. This verse was spoken by Lord Krishna himself to Uddhava. Here the Supreme Lord says, the best of bodies, a human body is a great attainment, rarely achieved, and may be compared to a boat. The Guru is an expert captain for this boat, and I have sent favorable winds, the Vedas. Thus, I have given all facilities for crossing over the ocean of material existence. Any human being who has achieved these excellent facilities of human life but does not cross over the material ocean is to be considered the killer of his own self. So let's take few minutes to understand this one. So here the Supreme Lord is saying the human body is rarely achieved again. It's a great attainment, but he compared that to a boat. And then the Guru is considered the expert captain for this boat, and the Lord also has given the knowledge or Vedas to cross over this material ocean. So if you look at this picture here, this picture was created based on the scriptural knowledge from Brahma Samhita and others. So there are several universes in the material sphere or material realm. And then once somebody crosses this material realm, there is Brahmajyoti, and then above that Brahmajyoti is Kailash, and then Lord Ramachandra's abode and all the Vaikuntha planets, and at the topmost one is the Goloka or Gokula, Golok Vrindavan. So all this material universe are lying in Brahmajyoti. So for someone who is a sincere student, we need to understand what is the difference between these different realms, and then who can take us back there. So here, Krishna clearly says, Guru is the expert captain for this boat, and he can take us to this spiritual realm. So any effort anyone puts or any endeavors spiritually within this material realm has pretty much has no value. It's considered as zero. It does not have any value. Why? Because one has to again go back, up, come down, back and forth through all these 8,400,000 species of life. He takes birth, he dies, he takes birth, he dies. It goes on for millions and millions and millions of years. Whereas someone who is aspiring for Brahmajyoti is a little better. However, he does not have kind of a personal relationship with the Lord. Whereas if someone crosses over and goes to Vaikuntha planets, or even about to Krishna's planet, Goloka, one can have a personal relationship with the Lord. So here there is a kind of a choice given here. So one has to deeply understand the kind of philosophy around this body and the soul and the rare achievement of the human body, and then make a wise decision to see if we can transmigrate from material universe all the way to the topmost planet, Golok Vrindavan. And this human body is the only way to achieve this highest perfection actually. All the lower species cannot bestow this opportunity. So here is just a sample picture indicating that there is a boat which is compared to a human body, and Srila Prabhupada is the expert captain, and who can take us back home to Golok Vrindavan. So let's move on to the next slide. So the next question is, who are these Vaikuntha Priyas? From the verse, Acharyas have described the definition of this one as follows. Those who have accepted the Supreme Lord and his abode as the ultimate goal of life are called Vaikuntha Priyas. So that means these Vaikuntha Priyas has a deep knowledge and understanding of the Supreme Lord. his various activities. What does he do starting from the morning till the night? And what kind of food he eats, what kind of friends he has, what kind of relationship he has with various personalities within the spiritual world. And also they have a deep understanding of his abode as well. Well, how is this abode constructed? What activities takes place? How does the Lord performs his various pastimes in his abode? So all those details are known to this Vaikuntha Priyas. And then they are controlled by deep, powerful feelings of compassion. And then out of this compassion, they descend into this material world as Vaishnavas. As you can see, these Navayogendras in this pastime, out of their free will, they just came and joined King Nimi's yajna to deliver him. So, and these Vaikuntha Priyas, they do not have any personal self-interest for them. All they care about is how to purify these conditioned souls. So let's a little bit understand about this purification. What does this purity mean? People flock to Mother Ganges and they take bathing in the Mother Ganges. Because Mother Ganges, being touched by the lotus feet of the Lord, purifies all the sinful activities of the conditioned souls. However, these Vaikuntha Priyas are even much more powerful than Mother Ganges. These Vaikuntha Priyas, when they take bath in Mother Ganges, whatever she accumulated, the sins from these worldly people, she gets purified even by these Vaikuntha Priyas. So now we can imagine how kind of purifying these Vaikuntha Priyas are. And also through historical events that happened, that are narrated in Srimad Bhagavatam, we have so many instances where these Vaikuntha Priyas have delivered so many conditioned souls. And one such example is also Mrigari, who is a hunter. So he was a hunter and he releases pleasure by killing animals half dead. He won't let them fully die or fully alive. He kills in between and he enjoys. One day Narada Muni was traveling around and he saw this one. He was really astonished to see this person's nature. And based on his capacity, he instructed him the spiritual knowledge. And then by his advice and following his instructions, Mrigari later became a wonderful personality who gave up all his sinful life. And later, he even cared for a little ant actually. He didn't even hurt. So we can see like these Vaikuntha Priyas are very, 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 very powerful. And they can purify these conditioned souls, either by their darshan or even more through their association. They can purify these conditioned souls. Moving on to the next one, perfect consciousness of Maharaj Nimi. So if you look at this verse, Durlabha Manusho Deho Dehinam Kshanabhangra Tatrapi Durlabham Manye Vaikuntha Pridarshana. The conditioned souls, or for the conditioned souls, the human body is most difficult to achieve, and it can be lost at any moment. And Nimi thinks that even those who have achieved human life rarely gain the association of pure devotees who are dear to Lord of Vaikuntha. So if you consider this translation, we can understand there are different layers of consciousness that Maharaj Nimi exhibited. One is he has a deep understanding of this Atma Tattva, which is to differentiate between temporary versus permanent, and also to understand that human body is rarely achieved. He has developed the deep understanding of that one. And he also showed a sense of deep urgency, because it said here that human life can be lost at any moment. That means he has realized practically how urgent it is for someone to take shelter of these pure devotees. And he also has a choice. He made right choices here. So what are the right choices? Two pieces. Well, the first one is he has an option to choose someone else to drive his boat as a captain, a human person, or maybe a demigod or someone else. But he preferred only Vaikuntha prayers, or those pure devotees who love Lord Vishnu or Krishna. He made that right choice. And also, he chose the right destination also. There is an opportunity for him to live in the material world, lifelong going through the transmigration, or to go to maybe a Brahman realization where he can sit there for millions of years again, or to go to highest destination, which is Golok or Vaikuntha, and to have personal relationship and personal service with the Lord. So he made a right choice to go to attain the highest perfection of life, which is to go to Golok. That's why he chose these Vaikuntha Priyas. And also, there is a sense of deep dependency for him on these Vaikuntha Priyas. He realized internally 100% that he cannot achieve by his effort this destination. So he chose these Vaikuntha Priyas, or pure devotees of the Lord, or Navayogindras, to address or to direct him, to take him to Golok Vrindavana, chose him as the captain for his boat. So also there is a deep inner orientation of all these four pieces. He are harmonized perfectly, and then he is seeking the association of all these Nava Yogendras. So at the end, basically it boils down to King Nimi states that to have personal association with such Navayogendras or learned transcendentalists is certainly the highest perfection of life. So let's move on to the next one, which is, why is it rare to get association of Vaikuntha Priyas? So this one was a little tricky. Initially, when I was trying to understand this verse, I was thinking probably there are very few Vaikuntha Priyas in this world. That's why it's very rare for someone to meet them. But after deep deliberation, I found that may be one aspect which is secondary. The primary is, if somebody is a sincere soul seeking the highest goal and then approaches the Lord internally through Paramatma, through his consciousness, the Lord arranges for him. And we have seen so many cases like that. So it's not that these Vaikuntha Priyas are rare. The main reason it is rare to get their association is that people are being cheated of this basic essential understanding of the Atma Tattva, which is like differentiating between body and soul, and also in different other ways. And they are not completely aware of the danger of slipping back again to 8 million species of life. So totally cheated. So there are few examples or mindsets that based on the modern age and culture, people exhibit, and which are very dangerous. And probably one should consider thinking deeply these mindsets. One is like, okay, volunteer and social work. And these set of people which are listed here, they think they are spiritual and they want to drive their own boats, thinking like, I know what I'm doing. I don't want to listen to someone else or depend on someone else. They want to be the self-captains for their own boats. And they're just satisfied just by doing the volunteer work, and they consider, yes, I am kind of spiritual. This is helping me at being a human being. And the second category is pious work. People just tend to do, I'll try to do good things for others, but I don't want to go further. That is, they consider that itself as a spiritual practice in life, and they don't want to go beyond. And then modern yoga studios, people go to modern yoga studios. They consider themselves, oh, I am also spiritual by doing this yoga postures and all that. And then some people, mostly Indian uh, um country background people, they perform rituals, which they may not even understand. They just perform ritual. This I am happy Baba with these rituals, and I am spiritual. I don't want to depend on someone else. And there is again more like Vedic rituals or yagnas they perform elaborately. So even though these yagnas are not properly performed in this age and culture because they don't hire good quality priests, it's not possible to perform. And some people consider giving a charity or donation is spiritual, and they're happy with that one. They don't want to. Basically, they don't want also is not an answer. They mindset only limits them, saying that they are in this spiritual condition, they are very advancing, they are good with their life. And there is some superficial ones like austerity. People just, I have seen since my childhood, they say, oh, no, I'm just fasting every day, Saturday night for the food. So they're happy, they consider themselves spiritual and advancing. And penances, some people perform different penances, they're happy with that. Some people even they exhibit saying, I'm being a just good citizen, not causing any harm to society, to people. They think they consider themselves as spiritual. Some people consider performing Desh Seva, national service is good. They're kind of, that is devotional. Some people consider, oh, I have taken just birth as a Hindu, that is good enough for me. I am religious. And also vegetarianism, veganism is another concept. They think I am not harming any living species here. I want to be vegan. They consider that as spiritual. So this is one aspect. And these mindsets or mentalities are being highly influenced in this modern age. And people have a 100% chance to slip over below human life again, to fall down into this lower species. Again, it's going to take millions and billions of years for them to evolve and come back to this human life again. So they're missing the point there. And the other one is said is mortal worship, demigod worship, modern yoga practices, voidism, Mayavadi philosophy. So these set of people or mindsets can be considered little better than the other, but still they are in the same category. It is the value potential will be zero. You have to take birth again, death again in the same material world. You will not be transmigrating yourself to higher realm, which is to Vaikuntha or Goloka. Let's take mortal worship. This is one very interesting one. People tend to take shelter of complete shelter of these human beings who they consider them as God. I have a practical experience of this one. So my son has a friend, and one day I was traveling with him. I was telling him few stories, and then I was in the conversation. I told him, now you should consider reading probably Bhagavad Gita or some other spiritual books. And he interestingly told me, Uncle, I already read these books. We have a guru that we go to, and he's God. He tells that he conquered death, and he cannot die anymore. And then he's kind of teaching us this Bhagavad Gita. And I was really literally shocked about that. So if you see like these set of people, is kind of cheating kind of gurus are there in this aspect. And people are fall into this cheap cheating gurus, and they miss their point, and they have to fall down again to this 8 million species of life. And similarly, voidism is there. People consider there is no life after death. Basically, there's no reincarnation concept. So we just want to enjoy life, kind of. And for this also, there may be some cheating gurus. So these are different mindsets, and because people are being cheated of this of the inner deep knowledge, even if they meet a Vaikuntha Priya or a pure devotee, their mindsets won't allow them to take shelter or to take association of these devotees. Okay, moving on to the next one. Okay. Vaikuntha Priya Srila Prabhupada. So we personally have experience or heard about Srila Prabhupada. For those of you who read his Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, can understand how deeply Srila Prabhupada was moved by these various mindsets and concepts of this current modern age. And he literally fought every day since he started his campaign back in India. And then even when he came abroad here to America, he continuously fought with various religious practices to various politicians, to different mindsets. He challenged all those ones. And then he published kind of set of books that can give us knowledge about the Vaikuntha, the spiritual world, and what do people do there. Also, this Srila Prabhupada, we already know that he, at the end of his life, mentioned that he was also a personality living in Vaikuntha or Golok Vrindavana, and he descended here on the order of Krishna. And is completely moved by the compassion, seeing these conditioned souls, and he started this movement, and he took that movement from India to even to Western countries. Now, if you see, like throughout the world, there are probably 160 plus centers established, which can guide people in the right path to make right decisions, actually. So these Vaikuntha Priyas has the ability to perfectly align our consciousness and take us back to Vaikuntha. And there are several disciples of Srila Prabhupada. I have been very fortunate to have association with these devotees, either by hearing their lectures or personally serving them. We have His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami, who is a wonderful personality and who has written several books on spirituality. And he also moved by the compassion of the people, and he delivered thousands of lectures around the world, influencing higher category of people like presidents, leaders of the world, actually. And I had opportunity to see him personally and hear his lectures. And we have another great personality, His Holiness Bhaktichara Swami. We heard recently of several glories of him. I do not have, unfortunately, his personal association, but I heard his lectures, and he was a wonderful personality who moved several conditioned souls' heart and then arranged them to go back home to back to Godhead. And we have His Holiness Jayapatak Swami. Most of us probably know. I had an opportunity to serve him personally once. And His Holiness Giriraj Swami, wonderful personality. He wrote several books on the order of his spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, trying to, again, influence this modern mindsets in everyone to understand the deep philosophical books. And we have His Holiness Radhanath Swami, who are also doing wonderful services for humanity and also traveling around the world, awakening the conditioned souls. His Holiness Indradhumna Swami, Bhakti Marga Swami, Niranjan Swami. And also we have other great leaders. His Holiness Jayapatak Swami, Chandramala Swami, Danaveer Goswami, Her Grace Malti Prabhu, Her Grace Mother Kamagiri Prabhu, Urimla Prabhu, Her Grace Yamuna Devi. Wonderful personalities who are influenced by the compassion of Srila Prabhupada and who completely surrendered their lives at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and who are constantly, even at the cost of their health, trying to propagate and then preach to these different sets of people to take shelter of Krishna or Lord Vishnu. So finally, how can we, or how can I apply this one, this knowledge, what I got, or what we understood so far? So we as a practitioners may not have 100% perfect consciousness at this time. However, we have some sense of understanding, some sense of urgency, right choice, or dependency. May not be 100%. So one has to slowly evaluate one's consciousness to see like what pieces are missing. Am I missing maybe deep understanding of scriptures or understanding the Atma Tattva or different spiritual aspects? If so, one can take shelter of scriptures given by our acharyas, like Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and there are further books that can explain even deeper philosophies. And for someone, it could be they might have a deep understanding of the scriptures. Maybe they may be missing, or they may not have deep sense of urgency. So for them, they can evaluate and see like maybe learning these kind of prayers, which Maharaj Nimi has given. And also there are several prayers given in Srimad Bhagavatam, explaining the urgency of this one. By practicing this one and by reciting morning and evening, or maybe by getting some stimulus by hearing the bad news of this world, like I should not say bad news, by hearing the news of people living this world. Every day we hear so many people dying. That should probably give some stimulus that we should take or create some sense of urgency in our lives. For someone, they could have maybe the deep understanding, maybe deep urgency. Maybe they're struggling with making the right choices. Which aspect should I consider, or which captain I should choose? Should I choose, or they should choose the right guru? So these choices can be made. And for some people, it could be maybe they're struggling to take shelter of a higher personality. So try to see if through different means, how can they understand this one and fix that one. And slowly orient internally all these four aspects, which can maximize, and then take shelter of association of pure devotees of the Lord. Because as King or Maharaj Nimi's conclusion, to associate with these great personalities is the highest perfection. And even to get a movement association with these personalities is a great treasure, which cannot be even purchased by the wealth of this material world. So we may have some one may not be perfect in his consciousness, but still these Vaikuntha Priyas are so merciful. So no matter in what consciousness, whether we are in, we can approach these people and request them to guide, ask right questions, and to fine-tune our inner consciousness so that we can gain the maximum output and then reach back home, back to Godhead. So invite as many people or as many pure devotees as possible into your lives, and then make friendship with them, serve them, hear from them, ask them questions. So all these ways, through all these ways, one can develop that inner sense of urgency, deep understanding, and then come to that perfect stage like Nimi achieved. And it's possible even to achieve this one in this human form of life, or in this lifetime actually. So I would like to end here, and I would like to thank you, Srila Shadbhuj Chaitanya Prabhu and Ramtidha Prabhu for encouraging me to say a few words on this topic. And also, I would like to thank you, my family, just to quickly reviewing to see if I had any mistakes on this slide. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thanks for accepting the invitation. And then it's a very nice discussion and nice presentation. And devotees, if you have any questions, please feel free to go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prem Chandra Prabhu.
So I heard this example. I don't know if it is from the scriptures or not. Maybe somebody can say that there is a tortoise in the big ocean and he's living underneath the ocean, but once in a while he pops his head up on the surface. And in the ocean also there is a log of wood which is floating. So the ocean is very big. The tortoise can be somewhere and he comes up only once in a while and he pops his head up on the surface. And there is this log of wood with a hole in it, and it is also like floating somewhere. So the rarity of human form of life is as much as when the tortoise comes to the surface and his head goes through that hole in that log of wood. That is how rare the human form of life is. Is that from any scripture that anybody knows from where it is, or because I just heard this?
Yeah, I heard this Prem Chandra Prabhu. I mean, it's just a different analogy sometimes preachers or devotees uses to express certain point exist.
But is it in one of the? I mean, is there a verse or something like that?
No, I didn't come across. Maybe Rukmini Mataji can say something. But definitely there is a tortoise which is holding entire universe down the Patala, which is sure based on the cosmology. That tortoise, which is Vishnu, so once in a while you get an itch. So then that he also shakes this universe. So that's there in the but what you said is actually analogy to express certain point. How rare is that? So that's probability is very there. Mataji, you want to add anything? Yes.
No, I've heard the same as you as an analogy. I haven't encountered it in a scripture.
Yeah. And then feel free to comment if I missed anything to add. Okay.
I have a comment, Chandra Banu.
Sure.
So one of the slides you mentioned, there is a different species of life. So my understanding is that each species itself is not abominable. It's a state of consciousness abominable. So when you mentioned in the scribe, so did you copy and paste it somewhere? Like, it's just all species, abominable species. So species itself is not abominable. That's what facilitating the consciousness of the living entity. So the consciousness is abominable, but not the species itself. Like if you take amoeba, if you take a fish, if you take human body, that is actually a boon to facilitate the soul to enjoy or suffer, so that they understand that the media through which that species. But the species itself is not abominable. The consciousness is that abominable. My understanding is that. But of course, since you did a lot of research and you copy and pasted, so where did you get that? If you go back to one of the slides.
Yeah, sure. Give me 1 second. Let me see that one.
Yeah, in first canto, it says that the Lord himself appears in every species.
Correct. So they're all a mirror image of Lord, but we take shelter of that pieces.
Yeah. So if I remember, I need to check that one. I got this from Avaduta Brahmins, understanding of the understanding that he got from body as a guru, Labdva Sudarlopedam. But I could be wrong, but I can check that one. Okay. But it's a good question. My understanding, it can be viewed in both ways, depending on how you see it. Because some people, as such, we tend to see the lower species as being living in certain conditions of life. We'll say, oh, they are abominable. You see what I mean? Because we may not understand and differentiate at that time between the body and the soul. But for someone who sees the differentiation between the body and the mind, body and the soul, he does not consider that as an abominable. See what I mean?
Yeah.
It's different.
I mean, whatever is said, the statement itself has an answer. The state itself is abominable, but not the species.
The species is nothing but the physical elements, these 5 physical elements.
So that's a material nature.
Correct.
So material nature, it's inert because that's what we wanted. So we get that, but the species itself is not abominable. The state of consciousness and the state is abominable, which need to be defined possible. That's my understanding.
Yes, yeah.
The body, the consciousness is based on the body you get, unless you are Bharat Maharaj and you got the body of a deer. But a pig's consciousness is like, is far removed from God consciousness. That is why it is abominable. So any consciousness that's far removed, like we have 5 layers of consciousness. We have Achadita, Sankuchita, Mukulita, Viksita, and Purna Viksita. This is the flowering of consciousness. So animals and trees, their consciousness is very covered over. So in that sense, they are in that, because your consciousness, whatever body you get, that's how you behave. So today I'm in a human body. I may like to eat something, but next life I get a pig's body, my consciousness will be like a pig because I'm in the pig's body. So it's the species of life, your consciousness depends on which species of life you get into. So unless you are like, Jati Smara, like Bharat Maharaj, that you got a body of a deer, or some special instances are there like that. But generally, you behave like an animal when you get an animal. And then you are quoting this verse, Ahara Nidra Bhaya Maithuna. So eating, mating, sleeping, defending is the only consciousness in the animal species of life. They don't have any higher. So that's why it's abominable consciousness. And yeah,
that's good. Abominable consciousness, but the species is not the consciousness, abominable.
But consciousness, like Krishna says in 15th chapter, you get your body, Shrotram, Chakshum, Sparshanam cha, you get your eyes, ears, nose, based on your consciousness. They are based, your body is made according to your consciousness, on the subtle body. So that's how, we have lower species of life. Like in animals also, we say cow is in the mode of goodness, lion is in the mode of passion, and like that. So there are different bodies in different categories, different modes of nature. So that's also right.
The distinction is that if I am thinking about would I want to be in that species and, being in a human form of life, would I want to go there? Then I think, then that would be an abominable state for me. But if I'm in a human life and I'm looking at an animal who is, or a living being who's currently in that species, I don't consider that living being to be abominable because
that is a point
I never know, who's there or why they're there. I mean,
no, that is a Uttamadhikari.
Yeah,
that's Uttamadhikari sees like that. But for Madhyamadhikari, it distinguishes between Ishvare Tadadineshu, Balisheshu, Dvishastucha. So he sees different categories of beings according to, of course, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, Brahmane Gavi Hastini. Everybody is spirit soul. That is there. And spirit soul is
well, the living beings who are in non-human species, they're not envious. So basically one has to ignore the envious.
They got that body because of their karma, like that.
Yes,
because
what their consciousness now is not
in a way like that. They've acted in a way like that, so they've got a body like that.
Right.
So it is not the same as an animal, a pig, and a human being. Of course, they are same spiritually because they are spirit souls, but they have different consciousness based on their activities, and they have degraded their consciousness to such an extent. Like Prabhupada was saying, oh, if you want to be naked, you can get the body of a tree. You can stand up for 5,000 years. So because they have degraded their consciousness, so that is why they are in that body, which suits their consciousness.
So Prem Sundar Prabhu, I don't think so. That's not the point. So that's says that's correct. The state of consciousness is degraded, is abominable. But the species itself, because there is every species has two things: the soul and super soul. So that's a resting place for that body to facilitate so that they can get out of the consciousness and purify.
No, like for instance, pig likes to eat stool. So for pig, it is enjoyable. But for us, it is abominable. But it is conditioned in that way, The pig is
Yeah,
conditioned to
you're missing
Okay.
the point. This is different discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
think I pulled that one. Let me share my screen. Okay, I think it is there in that same verse I talked about. Give me 1 second. Let me share my screen.
The pig's consciousness is
like
abominable.
Krishna
but the
says,
pig-
Karanam Gunasanga Asya Sad Asad Yoni Janmashu. In a
Okay.
good and bad species of life, he gets his.
Can you
transmigrates.
see my screen? Give me 1 second. This is little tough.
Yeah, we can see, bro.
Yeah, here. This is from Avaduta Brahmana.
Mhm.
And this is a very famous verse. I would like to thank you, Hari Prabhu, for sharing this one. After that, I learned this one. This is very favorite verse of Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj Thakur. After all, sense gratification is available even in the most abominable species of life, whereas Krishna consciousness is only possible for human being. I thought of adding this to that presentation as well, but it has become more complicated. So I just removed these words from there. But did that answer, Navin Krishna Babu?
Yeah, so the answers, that's what I was talking about. So see, the speech itself is not abominable. The state of consciousness is abominable.
Yes.
So based on that material nature awards that speech. For example, if I see a fish or amoeba or a pig, and I should not think that pig is abominable, but the soul in the pig, the consciousness is abominable. So that's the reason it got the pig body. It may be doing all activities, right or wrong, whatever it may be. Because Krishna also comes as a pig. He comes as many species different. Because to show that species itself is not abominable. That's an image of God. Everything, whatever you see in the material world, is image of God. But the activities of that species, whatever it may be, even if I'm in the devotee form, I'm chanting. If I do a lot of things, nonsense, I may be in the human body, which is the highest form. But my consciousness is abominable, degraded. So even the human body, in that perspective, is abominable. But there is human body of others that doesn't have that. That's a divine. Because how do you use that? Two things. One is once you got that, how do you use it? So that is a state of consciousness in the living style and attitude and character that determine this abominable life. That's my understanding.
You get a body, like there's a nice verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Purusho prakritisto hi bhungte prakriti jan gunan karanam guna sangasya sadasad yoni janmashu. He says, based on your association with the modes of nature, you get your birth in good and bad. Sadasad. Sadasad is translated as good and
that's
bad.
Correct. That's pretty clear and no one is denying that.
So basically, correct. You get a body based on your consciousness.
Correct.
Because that is how you want to fulfill your desires. You have certain desires, so some body is more suitable to fulfill a certain desire of sense gratification. So Krishna gives that body.
So in regard to that whether it's an Uttamadhikari, the Madhyamadhikari is supposed to see people so that, worship the Supreme Lord and see their peers, have friendship with their peers, treat the ignorant with compassion, and ignore the envious. So the envious are the ones who are abominable, and envy is something that can only be had among someone who is kind of on a similar level. Like a human can be envious of another human being. The animals are not envious of us, so they're not actually the most abominable. And generally, if we see animals, trees, plants, we're supposed to have.
So if you look at 16th chapter, Krishna says, those who are envious of me, I cast them into abominable species of life, birth after birth.
Yes, so they were envious,
although
and
in
then
that
they
body
became,
as an animal,
they went into the ignorant
animal,
state.
they may not have that envy, but they have come to that platform. So Krishna says in 16th chapter, if you look at the demoniac qualities,
yes,
he says, those who are envious of me, I cast them into the abominable species of life, birth after birth. So
all of us are envious. That's how, maybe not all of you, but all of I came to this material world because I'm envious.
The question here is that, that you get a body according to your consciousness. So
I think we are talking the same thing. I think so. Yeah.
I think when somebody speaks, let them complete. No, so it's a wonderful discussion. When Mata is speaking, whoever it may be, so let they complete their discussion and point, and then others can express. Because yeah, I agree with Chandraban. We're all saying the same thing, but we are quoting everything, but they are expressing their different understanding. So let's have that open line conversation with others also speaking. Let's complete. When they're done, we'll ask the permission to express our. Go ahead, Prabhu.
I'm sorry, who?
Or it maybe wanted to say, so complete the thought and then others can say.
Yeah, so it's very important. How I think of other beings is very different from how I think of myself in it. So Srila Prabhupada has said that these different species are apartments. They're like apartments. And the reason why someone came to that apartment, yes, that is because of their bad karma. But now that they're in that apartment, that karma has been going on from many, it could have happened like thousands of years ago. And their consciousness, once they're in the apartment, may be different. So for instance, in this month of Kartik, we're reading the Gajendra Moksha prayers. And Gajendra, he's saying of himself, I'm an ignorant person, I'm an animal, but he's offering these beautiful prayers that we all can learn from. So yes, it's true that one may have come to some abominable, what is said here is the abominable species of life due to something that happened in the past, but that doesn't mean that living being as they are now should be considered abominable by others. Now, if I'm in that species, then I can consider myself abominable if, or if I'm in a, some sort of unfortunate state, then I can consider that it's due to my own abominable actions. But if I'm looking at a third party, like at another living being, then I can consider that I don't know why they're in that state, and I don't know. There could be many reasons. Out of many millions of trees, one of the trees may be the very fortunate tree that was planted by Mahaprabhu or something. Or out of many millions of deer, one of the deer can be, it's actually King Bharat who became a deer. So it may be very, very unlikely that's the case. But from my perspective, as a practitioner, the safest thing for me to do is to assume that, I actually don't know why any of these living beings are in their current state, and I should just, treat them with compassion.
That is not the point. We have to treat everybody with compassion. That is accepted. We can give them prasadam, whatever that. The thing is
so
that
we're agreeing that
unless you are one of those jati smaras. Gajendra was a jati smara because he was King Indradyumna in his previous life, and he remembered a mantra. He was a great devotee. He unfortunately was cursed, and he got. But not that all the elephants are jati smaras.
But the safest thing for me is to treat every elephant as if it could be the jati smara.
That is given. Compassionate titikshava karunika surida sarvadehina. The devotee always treats everybody with compassion, with tolerance. That is
So I think that was Naveen Krishna Prabhu's point.
Yes,
that we
is the point. Yes.
See any,
but at the same time, the species of life is not. It's not a pig. Is not the same as a cow. Is not there we discuss about hansas and the crows. The crows go to the place of garbage, and then the hansas are those who like. So even in the animal species of life, you have gradations, of different based on the different bodies that they get. Yes, so honeybee, you have honeybee, and you have the fly. We have so many examples like that.
Yeah. So I think depending on the context where it is happening, things could be different. So because I may be getting some inspiration by looking at a certain species to advance myself. Even in that stage, it could be okay. But once I achieve certain stage, I may not be able to see the same species in a different way. So what I mean, so depends on one's individual.
Let's conclude. That's one of the reasons Trinadapi Sunichena. So what is the state of consciousness of a tree? But even our greatest philosophy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, even from tree, we can learn so many things, which is our state of consciousness. Like in every species, I don't know about others. My understanding is that like in his only species is abominable is me, Naveen Krishnadas. For everything is divine for me. So that's how I was raised. That's how we should see. Philosophy is there to see in the chest of Shastra Chakshusha and knowledge to see, understand perspective. But at the end of the day, everything is coming emanations of Krishna, which is a Prakriti, which is what do you call that? Material nature. Mahatattva. So that's Krishna's energy, which is Balaram. And then now every species has two things, soul and super soul. So it's Krishna's energy. So now it's a resting place. For me, it's just a divine. So, but I will not want to be a tree. I will not want to be a amoeba. Or I will not want to be a fish. So that state of consciousness, that it's it's evolving. So now I'm already evolved. I don't want to go back. So that's my understanding. What Prem Chandra Prabhu is saying, perfectly all right. I'm not denying that. Whatever is quoting, yes, for the Shastra. What I was saying on top of that, yes, that's correct. But I should not think that all other species, which is lower, abominable, but the state of consciousness is abominable, which is not desirable. That's my understanding.
So, Prabhu, Hare Krishna. I
Yes.
think we can take it offline if you don't mind. And I think this discussion
Nice
is going
discussion.
on.
Thank
So,
you, Prabhu. Yes. Thank you.
but being it's live and everything, so maybe we can take it as offline. And
Another
we can discuss more.
thing we can learn from the tree is that when you see a tree, then Prabhupada said, we can remember the words of the Guru, that it is also Taror iva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtanya sadahari, that how it is tolerant. Another thing to learn is that Prabhupada said, they got the body of a tree, like we have this Damodar month, Manigriva and Nalakuver. They got the body of a tree because they want to be naked. So Prabhupada also said that. So we can also learn that, this living entity may have got this body of a tree because of the desire. And if I do this, I will also get this body of a tree. So in that way also you can learn from the tree. There are many, many ways, different angles, different things you can learn.
Yeah.
And you just told us last week also that we can learn from the tree to dedicate ourselves to others.
Correct.
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you.
Looks
Thank
like
you.
nobody
Chandra
else
Prabhu,
have
very
any
nice
questions.
class. Very nice. You put a lot of effort to put this analysis. Very nice. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
Chandrabanu Prabhu. Sorry, I could not join on time. I was a little late. But yeah, nice class and nice presentation. Thank you for all your efforts and the wonderful presentation.
Thank you very much.
Very nice class.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Thank
So
you.
hoping to hear more classes from you. More
Yes,
frequently.
thank you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. His Grace Chandrabanu Prabhu ki.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Ananda
Vancha
Prabhupada.
kalpada. Paditanam pavana Vaishnavibhyo namo.
Very
Hare
nice
Krishna.
class. Thank you for this nice class.
Who is that? I didn't see him. Ujjwal. Okay. Thank you, Ujjwal. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you, Chandra Banu Prabhu. It was very fundamental, very nice. It touched all the main aspects of our Krishna conscious philosophy.
No, thank you very much, Prabhu.
The sense of urgency. I wanted to ask you more about the sense of urgency and things like that, but I think we are out of time.
Sure. Yeah, we can. Yeah.
We can discuss.
No, later I'll call you probably.
Later,
We can
okay.
discuss. Yeah.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
very much, Prem Sindhu.
Thank you,
Looking
Prabhu.
forward for your
Thank you.
kirtans. I don't know when it will happen to stimulate my heart. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank
Hare
you very
Krishna.
much. Yeah. Hare
Jai.